What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go. What is going on, everybody? How are we doing? What is happening? Aaron Rodgers acknowledges he's married because he's the new quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gave a press conference today, had a practice today. You saw the backdrop of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rodgers is living pretty well. You know, he had a little bump in the road with the Jets for a couple years, but 18 plus years with the Packers. Now the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's not messing with the little old brands. So we'll dive into Aaron Rodgers now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, I would say the big non-Rodgers story is TJ Watt, who is the Steelers' best player, no-shows. And I immediately Google what's his contract status. Well, it's the last year of his contract. And he's owed $20 million, and he's a free agent after this year. So like most people that are not attending these mandatory mini camps, or a guy like James Cook who says, I'm basically just here so I don't get fined, it's all about the money, baby. And nothing can put a smile on any human's face faster than cash. And when you play in the NFL and you're looking for a payday, when that payday comes, it's usually for a lot of money when you're a good player. So we will dive into that situation, some other stuff around the NFL from Kirk Cousins, who showed up as well. He didn't want to get fined. Shemar Stewart, the first-round pick for the Bengals, gave some quotes. At first, I didn't even believe them, but they were actually his quotes. And, a couple other things around the league. But before we dive in to any football-related topics, I got to tell you about my friends, my partners, and the official ticketing app of this podcast, Game Time. Best ticketing app in America. It doesn't get any better. What do you want to do? You want to go to a game? Do you want to go to a concert? Do you want to go to a comedy show? Do you want to go to an NFL game this fall? Do you want to go to a college game? I went to one last year, Texas, Oklahoma. Now, the game turned out not to be great, but the atmosphere, if you ever get the opportunity to go to a college football game, one of the big games, right? The Big Ten, the SEC, I cannot recommend it enough. It's weird. Oklahoma and Texas is technically an SEC game, but obviously for the majority of the time it was the Big 12 game, but it was really fun. And listen, I'm trying to help you out, save a little money on tickets. Things are expensive nowadays. I want you to do something fun, and I want you to do something fun because of this podcast. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code JOHN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code JOHN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, it was inevitable. The news broke last week. Now he's actually on the field and practicing along with his teammates. And it did kind of hit me when you see the decal of the Pittsburgh Steelers behind him. And listen, we can be critical of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but we all acknowledge high-level organization and just they know what they're doing. I mean, a huge part of their lack of success in the playoffs has been, last year the defense was shitty down the stretch too. They had some injuries, but the quarterback position. And I don't necessarily think a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers is fixing that, especially when you got to go through Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Like, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Herbert with Harbaugh. But, I totally understand why the Pittsburgh Steelers did it, right? And if I was them, I would rather have Aaron Rodgers at 41 than Russell Wilson. And their infatuation with Justin Fields was always a little weird, given that they benched him last year. So I take a little bit with a grain of salt. Like, they really wanted him back as what? Like a hybrid backup / runner? Did they want him to make him their starter? I don't necessarily believe that. But overall, seeing Rodgers in the Pittsburgh Steelers colors, I will say this about his situation last year, because 2 years ago didn't count, tears his Achilles, whatever, 5 plays in. Most human beings, myself included, most of you listening, most people that play in the NFL, most people that work on Wall Street, most people that work in Hollywood, most people that work in music, you name it, whatever industry you may be in, cannot overcome dysfunction, cannot overcome a poorly run operation, cannot overcome an owner being insane. Most of us cannot do that. And for most people, you would get eaten up and spitting out and have a poor experience. And look at the Jets. They have been consistently losing now for a decade and a half. It's not by accident. They've had different players, they've had different coaches, they've had different GMs. The same fucking result over and over and over. There's a small percentage of people that you can put them somewhere and they can overcome everything and just succeed. I know in my own experience, definitely in my younger days, I had no shot. If it was not a well run, operating at a high level, I could fit in and ideally shape in and be a successful contributing member to whether it be an NFL team, a radio station, a podcast network, you name it. But when there is a guy at leading the helm that does not know what he's doing, I'm going to have a problem. And I think most people listening can relate to that. It goes for our personal lives as well. You put someone in a dysfunctional home, you put someone in a dysfunctional relationship, it usually does not go well. And I think Aaron Rodgers is a good example. For 18 years, he played for the Green Bay Packers, which is easily one of the most well-run operations, not just in American pro sports. You could argue in American business. They have been good for 30 plus years now in a highly competitive industry where parity is the norm. And they constantly figure it out because they've had a hierarchy of people from coaches and GMs that know what they're doing. And obviously, they've gotten the quarterback position right. But he is a good example of someone that was drafted in the mid 20s that got to go to a place that knew what they were doing. And obviously, he's a very talented player, one of the most talented players in the history of the NFL, and excelled there at the highest level. Then he went to the New York Jets. Now, granted, he's not in the prime of his career. And last year, he's coming off a major injury. But it was a disaster. Let's face it, it was an embarrassment. People were getting fired left and right. They were losing game after game after game after game. Stories are flying all over the place. The owner's all over the place. And it was a joke. Guess who was not used to that? Aaron Rodgers. Why? Because he's never experienced that. It's why when I was talking with Colin yesterday, I'm pro Aaron Rodgers. I've seen him play live throughout the course of his career. He's one of the best athletes in any sport I've ever seen. And I've been lucky enough over the last 15 years to go to a lot of different sporting events. From, the NBA to Major League Baseball to professional golf to obviously the NFL. I've seen some of the greatest players over the last 15, 20 years in sports. And the best throw I've ever seen live was a candlestick Aaron Rodgers to Jordy Nelson. I've seen him make some incredible plays live. I was working for the Philadelphia Eagles the year that he won the Super Bowl. And I'm pretty sure he threw 3 touchdowns that game to a guy named James Jones, who wasn't very fast, but somehow torched the birds. And James Starks, if I remember correctly, had a big game as well. But I think when you look at this situation of Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, like, he's in a place that just kind of knows what they're doing. And he's in a stable environment where he's proven that if you've put him before, he can have success. So, do I think that this team is much different than they were last year? I don't. But do I think that we're going to get a better version of the guy that we saw? If we just assume Aaron Rodgers, he's no longer a 10 out of 10 athletically. His ability to ad-lib is nowhere near what it once was. But are we going to get the best version of the 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers? Yes. Because with the Jets, I don't believe you would get that. Now, listen, I got married a couple months ago. Pretty big moment in my life. Just like for most people in my life, whether it be my brother, other family members, my friends, my now wife's friends, any ones I've ever dated, their friends, a wedding's a pretty big deal. And I don't know that many quote unquote famous people, but whether you're famous or not, it's usually not something that you hide from. I mean, we just saw Josh Allen, who I would say is, if not the best, he's the reigning MVP, one of the best players in the NFL. And obviously a future Hall of Famer and a guy that, if they can figure it out as a team and play some better defense in some of these playoff games, I think can be a Super Bowl champion. But he just got married. It wasn't like some grand secret. So it's a little weird, but that's part of it. Like, part of what you get with Aaron Rodgers, a little weird. But like with the Pittsburgh Steelers, like, Russell Wilson is way more bizarre. And it felt at least, you know, his play let them down, but he wasn't able to act like he'd acted before, you know? So I do think that the stable organization, Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers brand, uh, I think it'll be good for Rodgers. Now, uh, do I picking this team to win 14, 15 games? I'm not. Do I think that more than likely they will be a one and done playoff team, assuming that Rodgers can play, I don't know, 15, 16 games? Like, I mean, if he's only playing 9 games, he has an injury, they would be effed, right? If you tell me he plays 90, 95% of the games, yeah, I think they will be a very competitive team. Their defense, Harmon, the guy they just drafted, I think their defensive coordinator said today he's a starter. You can put that in Sharpie. I love the running back they took in the third round from Iowa, Caleb Johnson. The NBA Finals are here, and this is your last chance to bet on the NBA until next season. And the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is pulling out all the stops to make it a finals to remember. One team will be crowned the champ, and the other will be lost to history. Who you got winning it all? Obviously, everyone's picking the Thunder. Not going to lie, don't hate dabbling a little on the Pacers. 5-1 to win the series. It's the NBA Finals. They just destroy the one seed, the Cavs, work the Knicks. I think people are sleeping on the Pacers a little bit. I get the Thunder are good, but I think people are underrating the Pacers. All season long, DraftKings has been the go-to spot for NBA player props, and that doesn't stop now. Who you got carrying their team to the chip? Try placing a bet on your personal MVP to drop 30, 40, or 50. I would expect, obviously, Shea, but definitely Halliburton to have some big games. Ready to place your first bet? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Lock in your bets and finish the season as a winner. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers, bet $5, win $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Don't miss your last chance to bet on the NBA season. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code JOHN. That's code JOHN for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. I mean, I would say the Steelers' biggest issue is not Aaron Rodgers. It's TJ Watt. And I think they have no choice. And this situation reminds me a little last year with the 49ers. When all your chips are in the middle of the table and your best player or one of your best players is going to be a free agent or wants a raise, what are you going to do? You're not going to act like the Bengals and play hardball, even if you do want to do that. And I don't think it's just a easy decision to be like, yeah, here's $100 million to a guy that's going to be 31. Now, I texted some of my buddies in the league that are pro scouts that are dialed in on how good everyone is. And I got from multiple guys said, listen, I still think he's damn good. And I understand he's a little bit older, but when you factor in the leadership, I mean, he's the heartbeat of the franchise. Is he going to be a 20-sack guy over the course of the next couple of years? Probably not. But if he's durable and he's on the field and he's giving you 12 to 15 sacks, pressure rate, and what he means to your franchise, it's hard to sometimes it's not as easy to quantify that. And if I were the Steelers, I'd be trying to hey, I'll give you a 2-year extension, $60 million on top of the 20 this year. So that's $80 million, guaranteed $50, $60 million. And he'd probably laugh at that. But I always am a little uncomfortable older guys giving them huge contracts, but I don't think they have a choice. And I think TJ knows it. And let's face it, he's got him by the balls a little bit because of the situation they're in. Not that this year is a go for broke, because it's not Super Bowl or bust. But I do think anything less than a playoff victory, at least internally in that organization, will be viewed as a letdown. So, listen, the Steelers, now they got Rodgers, are going to be, they were last year with Russell Wilson, one of the more fascinating stories in the league. You struggle to find your dad a gift for Father's Day? Well, how about his wallet? Does it look like it's been through a few wars? Don't worry, I got you. Little thing called the Ridge wallet. Look at this thing. Sleek black, carbon fiber, with a little money clip on the back, holds up to 12 credit cards. And I don't know about you, and I don't know about him, but I know we all lose our wallet all the time. And that is where the Ridge AirTag comes into play. I also have the Ridge keychain, which is fantastic because it looks good. I also lose that, but I can't, because with the AirTags, you always know where it is. So whether you like the black look or whether you want to support your favorite NFL team, whatever your vibe is, they have you covered. So no matter what you pick, Ridge has free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all products. So right now, just in time for Father's Day, Ridge is having a huge sale. Get up to 40% off at ridge.com slash 3 and out. Just head to ridge.com slash the number 3 and out to find the perfect gift for your dad or yourself. And when you check out and they ask, where'd you hear of us? Tell them we sent you. So give dad the upgrade he deserves. Right now, just in time for Father's Day, Ridge is having a huge sale. Get up to 40% off at ridge.com slash 3 and out. A couple other quick things. Kirk Cousins, listen, it's a bizarre situation. Obviously, if they would have the ability to take back the contract that they gave him last year, they would. They made a mistake, but when you make mistakes on high character guys, these situations are just more seamless. Like Cousins is there today simply because he doesn't want to give away $100,000. Don't blame them. James Cook literally said as much. I'm here because I like my money. I would never give away, whether I was a guy making $15 million dollars a year, whether I was a guy making $30 million dollars a year, definitely, obviously, the lower paid guys, $100,000. That is moronic, especially because these rules, you can't get that money back. But I think Cousins, if you're going to be in this weird situation, because he doesn't really have a trade market, no one is trading for Kirk Cousins until there is a major injury. And anytime that you're in that situation as the team with the player, it's out of your control. What if there are no major injuries? Once upon a time, the Eagles benefited because Teddy Bridgewater's leg snapped in that practice. If that hadn't happened, Sam Bradford, they wouldn't have been able to trade him, right? Not that they were even looking to trade him, but my point is they would love to trade Kirk Cousins, and I'm sure, would eat some of the money. But there's just no market for him currently. Now, that could change in August, but it also could not. And if they are stuck in this situation, which is not ideal, because you don't want people answering the questions, this is where character and Cousins going to say all the right things. And sometimes this, um, I would say, gets thrown out a little too liberally, like, be a pro. Like, what does that even mean? Like, this is a guy who truly understands that. And it's also a guy who's seen a lot of shit. I mean, just think about the way that he came into the league. And I think that will benefit him greatly because he saw the RG3 situation with different coaches, and a little like Rodgers was with Love. Obviously, he was mad they drafted Jordan Love. And I don't even blame him for that. Even if he was technically misguided, it's like, bro, you didn't play that well. That's the reason they did it. If you would have balled out, they wouldn't have done it. It's like, yeah, you wanted them to take a wide receiver. Well, your play made them a little nervous. And, Cousins and Rodgers clearly and Jordan Love have a really good relationship. And by all accounts, handled it like a true professional because of the way that him and Favre went through it, a decade plus earlier. And I think Cousins, having had a front row seat in just a weird situation to start a career, I think he's going to be really good with Penix if he is stuck there. And to me, him being stuck there is really more of a reflection of, like, if they don't win, I just don't see how these guys survive. And I feel bad because I'm a big Michael Penix guy. That, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't see it going well. C.J. Stroud is throwing, which, listen, I get nervous when I saw Trevor Lawrence is having arm fatigue. I don't know if that's because guys throw less now, if guys throw more now. When I say, like, what do you mean throw less? Well, I just mean, like, they take a bunch of time off and then they start throwing really heavy and it's just really intense on their elbow or their shoulder. Anthony Richardson obviously has had the shoulder injury before, but at any time, an elbow or a shoulder is not feeling right and you have to sit out practices in OTAs, like, I call me like overreactor, but I'm gonna, like, red flag it a little bit. So seeing that he came back, like, that's a pretty big sign of relief because on the other side, like, I saw a headline today that, ideally, Anthony Richardson is ready to go for training camp, but there's no guarantee. I mean, he's already seeing second specialists, and we'll just have to see how that plays out. Like, you guys know where I stand. I feel pretty confident that Daniel Jones, like, if I'm a betting man, Daniel Jones is going to be starting week one. And I think at the end of the day, we'll have to see how this plays out with the, obviously Ursay passes away. His daughters are now in full control. what their relationship is with Chris Ballard. I mean, he's been there a long time. They don't make the playoffs ever. Now, if Anthony Richardson fails and Daniel Jones doesn't work out and they're 7-8 win team and they have a high price roster and it's just not working out, does he get fired? And if you fire him, do you have to fire Shane Steichen? Because if you fire the GM and you bring in another GM, do you force him to work with the coach, even if people think pretty highly of Shane Steichen? We've just seen this kind of song and dance before, that when not everyone's on the same timeline, things can get really, really weird. So that's definitely a big story to watch once we get to training camp. And last but not least, these quotes from let me get these quotes from Shemar Stewart from my 3 and Out group text message. Shemar Stewart fired back today. I'm 100% right. It should be a no-brainer. In Trey's case, it should be a no-brainer too. I'm not asking for nothing y'all have never done before. But y'all, meaning the Bengals, just want to win arguments more than winning games, in my opinion. I thought that was AI. When I saw that quote, I'm like, wait, this rookie is already talking shit about his contract situation. I just think the Bengals, man, for whatever reason, and we've talked a lot about this, just we could find a lot of really, really rich people that are really, really cheap and frugal. It's a disease. And the Bengals aren't the richest team in the NFL, but they have a franchise that is worth billions of dollars. Yet they are still obsessed. This is not the number one overall pick in the draft either. This guy, I think they had the 17th overall pick. So what type number are you talking guaranteed dollars? 15, 16, 17 million dollars? That in the grand scheme of things in a $250 million cap is a tiny, tiny number. I mean, we're talking a nominal amount of money relative to your football operations. And this is what you're arguing over? Especially, it's like, it'd be one thing if this guy was asking for something that had never been done based on precedent of the slot last year, same player, exact same thing. So I think the Bengals, man, it's really, we talked about this with the Rodgers. It's amazing what Joe Burrow's done. It really is. That Joe Burrow pulled that franchise to a Super Bowl. Zach Taylor seems like a nice guy, probably pretty average coach at best, right? They let go of multiple guys. Their defense wasn't nearly the same because a couple years ago, we're talking about Lou Anarumo interviewing for head coaching jobs. Then he just forgets how to coach overnight. No fucking chance. Their team's not as good. I mean, they had a guy that with 20 sacks, and their defense was atrocious. So I think Lou Anarumo is a pretty good coach. And Carson Palmer, once upon a time, I don't pretend to know the guy very well. Did meet him and spend a night talking a lot of football with him. And obviously, like most people that like football that are my age, followed his career for a long time. Carson Palmer's a really, really high level guy, impressive guy. Like he didn't just quit on the Bengals because he was like, yeah, this is just I don't really want to be here. It's like organization was a joke. I mean, it really was. They're one of their teams. They use their coaching staff as scouts. Why? Because they don't want a big scouting staff. They want to control the costs. Their mindset, because the team has been in the family for so long, still operates much more like it's the 70s or 80s. Like, guys, it's not that time anymore. The television deal gives you $425 million. Why are you getting into an argument with this player over this? I've defended them on the Hendricks Trey thing. It's a little more complicated. But this is, what the fuck are we doing? To have a rookie say that? It's like, damn. I don't even blame him. I mean, feels pretty confident in his stance though. So yeah, it's wild times in the NFL the offseason.